Okay, so today we're going to learn about PEMDAS, or I like to call it GEMDAS sometime, and you'll see why. So, I like to think of PEMDAS as grammar for math, and also an important note is that we read from left to right, or we also do PEMDAS the same way, left to right. So, the P stands for parentheses, but I like to think of it as groups because we can have things that aren't parentheses. We do have parentheses, but we also have brackets. We can have big square roots as well, where we have some operations inside of there. We can have absolute value. Yeah, so that's for parentheses, or G. So I like to think of it as groupings. These will always come first. So what comes second is exponents. So if I have like x to the 2, 1 over x to the 3, right? So exponents will come second. Multiplication and division come third, and you can think of them as grouped together. And the reason why, I'll explain why there's an order to these things after this, but multiplication and division come third. And then lastly, you want to do addition and subtraction. So the reason why multiplication has a priority over addition and subtraction is because, if you recall, multiplication is the same thing as addition, but it's written out in this form, so this is the same thing as 4 times 3. And same thing for exponents. Exponents have a priority because it's like multiplication, but bigger, right? So, right, now that we know some of these rules, I want to do these two expressions, or I want to evaluate these and see what results I get. Alright, so I'm going to evaluate these and see how different they get. So, by using PEMDAS, multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. So that's what I'm going to do first. So 4 times 5 is 20 plus 3, and then we get 23. Over here, we have a grouping. So I'm going to use my groupings rule first. So 3 plus 4, you're going to evaluate what's inside the group, right? So 3 plus 4 is 7. And then that gets rid of the parentheses times 5, we get 35. So you see how different these answers are? That's why PEMDAS is so important. Alright, and then I want to do another example as well, because like I said earlier, parentheses, like it's not just parentheses, it's groupings. So we can think of square roots as well. Square root right here has an operation in it. So we're going to perform that operation, which is 25. And then square roots also can be thought of as exponents. So I'm going to evaluate the square root first, and I'm going to get 5. And then multiplication beats addition, so I'm going to do that first. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 5, and I get 13. Here, we're doing groupings, so let's evaluate this group first. 6 minus 3 is 3. And then I have an exponent here, so I want to evaluate that next, because that has priority. So 3 squared is 9. plus 1 minus 2. And then we read from left to right. So 9 plus 1 is 10 minus 2, and I get 8. Should be good from here, and I'll leave some example problems.